Perfect. All right, so you are a blast from the past. Graduated a while ago, and you've been doing some really interesting stuff. You've had a really interesting journey. So thank you for joining us today. You are being broadcast to about 20 or so sophomores.
Perfect.
Of 2025.
Mine too. That's my class. So.
Yeah. So you graduated when?
2014.
2014. It's a long time ago.
I know. It definitely feels that way.
And whose advisory were you in?
Miss Lore.
Miss Lore. Now Miss Lore's Miss DeServo.
Oh, I didn't even know. Okay.
One of the greatest advisories of all time.
Oh.
They had 7 or 8 of the top 10 in the class. That was a good class. All right. So what did you take away from your experience with early college?
Oh my goodness. Well, I took away a lot of things. The first one that I just have to say, and I know everyone's probably going to groan, is Cornell Notes. Still to this day, I always use Cornell Notes, literally only Cornell Notes, actually. Making it through optometry school, it's been such a difference with that. But also just confidence. The biggest thing I think that early college gave me was confidence, because you're gaining confidence as you're around people who are older than you in classes, and you're having to explain concepts that they're right there next to you getting. And so just having that confidence and knowing, okay, I can pick and do something really hard and still exceed is pretty awesome. And it carries on as you get older.
What do you think was the hardest class, most challenging class from your high school classes?
I don't think she's been there for a while, but Miss Atkinson's English class, that I'm like, there's a reason I went into the sciences and not English. That was definitely a toughie.
She actually won Horry County Schools Teacher of the Year for the whole district last year over at Ainer.
Not surprised to hear that. That is amazing.
Fantastic English teacher. Really high expectations. How did that translate over to tech? The idea of having instructors that had higher expectations.
Goodness. Well, when you say, you mean like transferred to taking the college classes at Horry Georgetown?
Yes.
So just knowing that some of our teachers in early college, and Mr. Chappell, I think you are also one of them, kind of, you expect a lot out of us, which is a good thing. It's nerve-wracking in that moment, but knowing that, okay, you guys see that we can do these things and you expect it out of us, and carrying that over to the college classes, because we are told by all of you, told in Avid, told left and right, college classes are going to be different. They're going to be harder. And just knowing that the teachers are expecting all of that from us, but they're not going to be right behind us, and kind of, I don't want to say they're not supporting us, but it's different. So just having that awareness that, okay, teachers can expect this from us. They see it. That's how I carried it over.
Were you involved in any organizations while you were here?
I did mock trial with you. And I'm trying to remember. Service learning type things. We did make a blanket service learning with Miss Lore's class, my group, a small group from her Avid class. I don't think I really did anything more than that. The big one was mock trial for sure.
Glad we don't do that anymore.
Really?
Yes. Very glad. All right. So you finished up at early college and you graduated from tech before early college, right?
Yes.
Had your associate's degree. Was it an associate of arts or science?
Of science, I believe.
Okay. And so then where'd you go?
I went to Coastal for 3 years and got my degree in biochemistry with a minor in public health.
Wow. Sounds hard.
A little tricky. Not quite as hard as what I'm doing now, but
Probably prepared you well. Yeah. And can you describe kind of your coastal experience? I mean, again, we're sophomores. We haven't really taken any college trips yet. We're just starting to maybe think about where we want to go. What was your experience like at Coastal?
So if I'm being honest, I should have used my first year a lot better than I did. I kind of was just expecting that I was going to be done at Coastal in 2 years after having got my associate. So I was like, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to do anything extra. I'm just going to do my classes, make good grades, be done. Well, midway or near the end of the first year, I realized that I was going to get a minor and kind of extend my track to 3 years. And so I was like, okay, that's a long time to not be doing anything. So let me get involved. And so at Coastal, I was an orientation leader. I was involved in a couple different clubs. I helped to be a student ambassador, so like giving tours on campus. And honestly, that made the world of a difference. My first year was a little bit more, I don't want to say sad, but I wasn't really happy with doing everything that everyone else on campus was doing. And then once I got involved and started just picking things that I knew would be fun for me, oh my goodness, I loved being at Coastal. It was like night and day difference. And I was noticing not only myself being more happy outside of class, but also just more engaged in class because I knew more professors, I knew more people around me, and it just made it a lot easier to continue on the program.
I think a lot of people don't really get that quite yet. When you first get there, I'm here for school. But school is so much more than classes. It's an experience, at least at the undergraduate level. Once you do graduate, it's a different world. But for that undergrad, it is truly about the experience of meeting people and finding out who you are. Yes. And while you were there, you met somebody pretty special too, right?
My husband.
Yeah.
So yes, we did meet when I was at Coastal, and we have went all over the country now, moved to Seattle, and then spent 3.5 years there. Now we're here in Texas, and I am definitely very grateful for him.
All about meeting people. All right, so what took you to Seattle?
So when I graduated from early college, graduated from Coastal, I always knew I wanted to be a doctor, but I at that point was just like, I don't know what kind of doctor. I don't know what that path looks like. I'm just going to get into the medical field. And so I was just sending my application or my resume around to a couple different cities in the United States. So Seattle, Dallas, New York, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So those were like, I love those places. I'm just going to send my resume and see what comes back. And so an optometrist in Seattle reached out to me and said that she loved my resume, wanted to have an interview. And so we did that. And she offered me a position as a vision therapist, which I'd never heard of before, but it paid well. It was in the medical field, and I got to work one-on-one with patients. So I said, let's do it, and drove across the country within 3 weeks. So that's what pushed me to Seattle, was just having that opportunity to get my foot in the door of medicine. And that has just completely made my life, it's kind of aligned my life to where I want it to be now. So that one small decision, which was so nerve-wracking, and definitely a lot of tears came from having to go back and forth on what I was going to do, but it was such an amazing decision.
All right. So then Seattle to Texas, San Antonio, right?
Yes, that is where I'm at now. I'm in optometry school. I am a second year here, and it is going really well. I love optometry school. I'm optometry plug. I'm like, optometry is just getting bigger and bigger. We need more optometrists. There's really not that many. And it's probably, once again, I'm a little biased, but it's probably the best medical profession there is, because you get balance, because most optometry places are only open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, kind of normal hours. It's not as hectic as medical school. Residency isn't required. I love optometry. And then the people, I think optometrists are just amazing. So that's my little plug.
Perfect. All right. So I'm kind of noticing this trend with you, that you like to take risk.
Oh, yeah.
It's about making that decision and then actually doing something with it. So often we just get caught up in I think I'm going to do this, and then you never really do it. Can you kind of describe your decision-making process as it relates to that? Because I think the same way, like, all right, if I'm going to do it, let's do it. And we go ahead and do it. But so many people aren't like us. Can you walk us through that decision-making process?
So I've thought about this a lot because there are definitely people who